Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Avriel Muse, and if you're new here, thank you for being here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the things that I believe have helped me to create consistent viral videos, primarily on Instagram. And I want you guys to use these same tips so that you can grow on Instagram and reach the people that you want it to reach. I have gone viral multiple times, and some of my videos have hit hundreds of thousands of views and also millions of views. So I'll post my receipts on the screen. Let's get into it. A lot of people not going viral, but I personally do not, because it has actually served its purpose for me. It has consistently allowed me to reach my target audience and reach the people that I want to inspire, that I want to encourage, that I want to add value to. And I just don't understand why that would be a bad thing. Am I saying that you need to chase virality and chase numbers? No. What I am saying is that if you are really passionate about your videos, you're really passionate about the content you create, you're proud of it, then of course you want it to reach the people that you want it to reach. I always have somebody in mind when I'm creating content, and I want it to touch those people in the way that I want it to touch them and impact them. And that's so important for me. You just have to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. If you believe that you have something to offer the world, then of course you want it to be in front of as many eyes as possible. I'm going to share the principles with you that I believe have helped me to go viral time and time again. Here's a major tip that I haven't seen anyone share, but I think is so important. You want to make sure that you're sharing polarizing content. Share your polarizing perspective. And I'll give you an example of what that looks like. I'll post it on the screen so that you guys can see an example of that, and then I'll break it down. My most viral reels are polarizing. You want to make sure that you're creating content that is different, that isn't typical. On social media, we're so used to seeing what's typical, we're so used to seeing what's normal, that when you share something that's different than the norm, it makes people want to tune in. It brings a lot of conversation. So the reel that I just showed you guys of me sharing that I got engaged in 5 months always does numbers for me, because people are like, what? That's crazy. You get one side of the spectrum where people are like, I love this, it doesn't take that long, when you know, and it's just very positive. But then you also get the other side of the spectrum where people are like, that is crazy, you're gonna divorce, that's insane, marriage is just a piece of paper, you know, all the negative stuff. But I love it because it brings so much conversation in the comments, and it makes people just want to keep commenting and commenting and commenting. And then it pushes my video out to so many people because Instagram is like, wait, this video is causing conversation. And when you share something that's polarizing, when you share something that's different, that happens a lot. It causes a lot of conversation, and people are just so ready to share and comment and like it because of how different it is. So you need to be willing to share your polarizing perspective. I guarantee you there's something about your story that is a little bit different. Even if it's not about how you got married or whatever the case is. It could be how you started your career. It could be how you parent. It could be whatever. But once you share that little thing that's different, there's gonna be so many people that connect with you because you shared that. I think the world needs something different. We're so tired of seeing the same things. We're so tired of hearing the same perspectives that you stand out from the crowd when you share something that isn't typical. I love sharing that part of my story because I want to encourage people that are single and believe in love that it doesn't take all that you can meet the man of your dreams and you can get married really quickly. Like, I want to encourage people to know it's possible. And even if you don't do it that way, that's fine. But I want to be able to reach the people that believe in that stuff and are inspired and encouraged by that. You just never know what people are touched by. And if you hide all of the parts of you that are different, or hide all the parts of your story that aren't the norm, then you could be robbing other people of being encouraged and being inspired and being uplifted. Here's another tip. Repeat what works. Guys, this is so simple, but a lot of times we're afraid to do it. I'll speak for myself. I feel so uncomfortable sometimes re-sharing and reposting what I already shared. But If you have a piece of content that's gone viral already, that is already done well, why wouldn't you reshare it again? I looked at one of my most viral reels. I think it had like 2 or 3 million. I'll post the stats on the screen. But when I looked at how many of my followers it actually reached, it was only like 30,000 of my followers or something like that. I have 69,000 followers. That means only a little less than half were able to see the content that I had shared a year ago. So if you have some fears about reposting your content, let me dispel that right now. Sometimes people need to be reminded. Sometimes we overestimate just how much people care about us. Like sometimes people be forgetting. Sometimes people just need to be reminded. The people that follow you come across so much content on a daily basis. What makes you think that they're gonna remember the same thing that you posted a year ago or 6 months ago or even a week ago? Like we really be overestimating how much people care and how much people remember. They just come across so much content. It's good to be reminded. It's good for someone to come across a piece of content that made them smile, that made them laugh, that inspired them, that encouraged them. Reshare it. I even last week was like, oh, I really want to reshare this thing, but I don't know if I'm going to reshare it because I don't want to annoy people. And it's like, they're not going to be annoyed. If they are annoyed, then whatever, they're not for you. Let them unfollow, whatever. Like people follow and unfollow on Instagram all the time. But if they are for you, they're going to probably comment something nice like, oh my goodness, I remember when you posted this, if they do remember. Or, wow, this is so encouraging. I totally forgot that you posted this. Like, this is such a sweet reminder. All of that. So you just want to make sure that you're reposting. If something did well the first time, there's a high chance it's going to do well the second time. You can do this in 2 ways. You can straight up repost what you've already shared, or you can refresh it. You can take the same themes from the first thing that went viral and recreate it in a new way. And I've done that so many times, and every time it does well. I'll post some receipts of that on the screen as well. I have done this so many times with my getting engaged in 5 months. One thing about me, I'm gonna run the same play. I'm gonna repeat, even though I be having fears in my head about it sometimes, like, oh, I don't wanna repost this. I'm gonna run the same play because each time it reaches a lot more people. And stop thinking that the whole world has seen your content, because they honestly haven't. Yes, 3 million people, if they saw it the first time, or 2 million or 200,000 or 300,000, whatever. But there's still so many people in this world that want to come across that content. And if you think about your content from a place of, no, this is actually serving people, then you're going to be so excited to get it in front of more people. You have to see yourself as valuable, and what you're doing as adding value, so that you can become so much more unashamed about reposting what it is that you want to repost. Let it reach the people that it needs to reach. The next tip is play to your strengths. Okay, this is about to get real spiritual, but what are you anointed for? What are you called for? What are you created for? Okay, I know for me, something that I am anointed for is to show my family and share my journey and share my marriage. And when I do that, it does numbers. Why? Because there's a special blessing over it. And I really think that we have to pay more attention to what our strengths are. Lean into that. If you realize that when you share a certain concept or share a certain idea, it does well, lean into that. Expand on that more. More people want to hear your refreshing perspective. More people want to see whatever it is that you're showing them. And if you realize that that does well, then keep playing to your strengths. Like, there's no shame in your game. I know my family is something God has blessed me with, and I know that my perspective on it can sometimes be different or refreshing or inspiring. And I really love to lean into that because, one, I'm passionate about my family. Obviously, I love them. And I want to get that more in front of people that are desiring a family one day, or already have a family but want to hear my perspective on how I do something different. If you're not 100% sure what this looks like for you, then lean into the clues. So for me, something that has happened so many times is when me and my family are all out, or me and my husband are out, we get tons of compliments. People are always like, oh my gosh, you guys look so good together. You have beautiful kids. You have such a beautiful marriage. You guys look so amazing. And they compliment the outward a lot. And I realized that, oh my gosh, that's actually a gift for people just to notice like how we look together as a unit. if people notice that on the road and it's something that sticks out to them, let me actually create more content surrounding that so that people can see, you know, and people can dream and envision and all of that stuff for themselves. Also pay attention to the parts of your story that really stick out and stand out to people. So for me, whenever I mention that I met my husband on a cruise ship and we got engaged after 5 months of meeting or whatever, and I share that in real life, we always get so many varying perspectives and opinions on it. And that's kind of how I knew that maybe I should create content around this, because it is different and people in real life are so moved by that or shocked by that. And if that's how their response is in real life, then let me lean into that on social. So just pay attention to those clues in your real life, like what in your life gets so many varying perspectives, like when you share a particular part of your story, or what in your life do people make comments about or compliment on a lot. You want to lean into that. Okay, I'm not going to harp on this next point because you've heard it 1,000 times, but I do want to reiterate it because it's so important, and that is volume is key. Guys, I don't know how many times we need to hear about consistency, but I know that regardless of how many times you hear it, you still haven't been consistent. These platforms prioritize your content when you show up. I will have times where I show up maybe once a week or twice a week, and Instagram don't care about me. They're like, I don't care what content you're putting out. Like, I'm not really gonna push your stuff because you barely show up on here. But Instagram honors you so much when you're so consistent and you show up so much more often. And you want to go with that momentum. I find that when I post daily, I'm not saying you have to post daily, but I will say you need to post at least 3 to 4 times a week. Like this once or twice a week business, I don't know if it's going to do that for you. But I find for me, when I post daily or when I post like multiple, even if it's not daily throughout the year, obviously, because that's hard to keep up. That's really hard to be sustainable with. But when you decide, you know what, I'm going to go on a run. I'm going to go 10 days of posting every day, or 20 days of posting every day, or 30 days of posting every day. And you realize that you start building momentum. If you have one breakout reel, then Instagram is going to keep pushing that out to people. And then you want those people to come and actually have more to consume. So if people are following you, it's because they want more of you. And you want to make sure that you're showing up and posting more consistently so that you can give the people what they want, and also give Instagram, the platform, what it wants. And they're gonna push you out so much more because they see that you're actually honoring their platform. Instagram honors you when you honor the platform. With the volume piece, I'll also say this: you don't wanna post a lot of content if it's not good content, which is why it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You wanna make sure that your content is good. You wanna make sure your content is rich. You wanna make sure it's valuable. You wanna make sure that you're adding value to your audience. And you wanna make sure that your content is serving somebody. Content that's all about you is not gonna do anything. You wanna make sure that you're either adding wisdom, you're making people laugh, you're making people smile, you're inspiring people. Because if not, then why would anybody follow you? You want to make sure you're adding value. Okay, so now that we got all the fundamentals out of the way, you want to make sure that your content falls into these 3 pillars. So is it shareable? Is it engageable? Like, do people engage? I don't even know if engageable is a word, but is it engaging? And does it invoke emotion? Content is really shareable when it's really entertaining. Like when you're making people laugh, they want to share it with their friends. They want to share it to their own stories. If you're giving them like a nugget of wisdom, they want to share that with their friends. They want to share it to their own stories. Or if you're inspiring people, people really want to share that as well, because it's like, oh, like they want to show their friends that, oh, look how beautiful this moment was, or how sweet this is. Like, take a look at this, that kind of thing. So you just want to make sure that your content is engaging. You want to make sure that it's shareable. So an example of engaging would be, does it lead to a conversation? Do people feel like they want to respond to the content that you created? Is it creating a dialogue in the comments? Like, you want to make sure that your content is engaging and it makes people feel like, hey, you know what, I actually want to have a conversation about this. I like what I saw, or hey, I don't like what I saw and I want to respond to that. Like, create engaging content. Content that also invokes emotion. An example of content that invokes emotion would be this reel, and I'll share that here. This reel invoked so much emotion. The comments were so beautiful, and essentially it moved people because in the Black community especially, you know, seeing a man be vulnerable and emotional, especially over his best friend getting married, like that's not a common thing. But it moved people because it's like, wow, you know, men can be vulnerable. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. It's a beautiful moment when you love people so much in your life and you're seeing them at one of their happiest moments and you're up there with them and you're getting to share in that joy and share in that moment with them. It moved people and inspired people something different because it's not something we see all the time, especially from Black men. So you want to create content that invokes emotion in whatever way. I remember I had shared another reel. I don't remember how many views it got, but I'll screenshot that here. But essentially in that reel, we were talking to my son about his emotions and letting him, it was something silly over him like not getting a fork or a spoon or something like that. But we took the time to hear how he felt because we realized that from an early age, that's when you as a parent need to give your children the opportunity to speak and say how they feel and share what they want, because then they won't be inept about sharing their emotions when they're older. And that brought a lot of emotions to people. Like people were in the comments like, dang, my parents never let me say how I felt, and because of that I grew up not knowing how to communicate my feelings or communicate my emotions, and this is so beautiful to see. I wish I had this from my parents, or this is something I'll be incorporating. It invokes emotion. You want to create content that does that for people so that they can feel something and feel moved. A lot of the content we see on social media is not moving. I can't even think of one piece of content I've seen this week that really moved me. And you want to bring those human emotions out in people so that they can feel something, because once we feel something, a lot of times it can bring action and inspiration in a way that causes people to want to do things different for their lives. So those are all the tips that I'll be sharing today. I really hope this video helps you. I believe this video is rich. You can take this and run with this and use this to your advantage. Please use these tips like your life depends on it. I believe you will grow, okay? Look at me. I believe you will grow, and you need to believe that you will grow. If you personally feel called to social media, then take this and run with it and go with the momentum once you get started, and just sprint until you get to where you want to get, okay? Because you can do this. I didn't believe I could do this when I first started out in 2021, and in 2 short years I've gotten to over 60,000 followers, almost at 70,000 followers now by using these tips. And these are things that I wish people told me, like hearing about hashtags and trending audios. Like, yes, trending audios is great, and hashtags, I don't use hashtags. If you guys look at my reels, I can't remember the last time I used a hashtag on my reel, and I still go viral. So I'm just saying that these are the things that I really wish people told me. I get that advice about trending audios and hashtags and all of that, but we essentially want to create good content that we're proud of. We want to bring out emotion. We want to touch people. We want people to engage. We want all of these good things that I mentioned in this video. And I believe this will help you to grow on Instagram and help you reach the people that you feel you're called to reach. So if you like this video, please like it and comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Bye guys.